earliest musical memories were in my home. My family played music, recorded music all the time, classical music. The Sunday mornings Philharmonic was always on the radio in our house. It was a famous thing in the States back in the 50s. And then when they came out with the first LPs, they were 10-inch LPs. And we bought a player, and my mom bought 4 LPs, the first 10-inch LPs. And one of them was Josh White. Thank you. One of them was the Weavers. Thank you even more. Another one was Odetta. God bless her. And another one was a South African couple called Mariah and Miranda. And that turned me on to folk music. Right away, bang, full explosion of all kinds of ideas that I didn't know about. And exposed me to Pete Seeger. Now, Pete was wrong about communism, but he was completely right about sticking up for what you believe in. And that turned me onto that set of values in the first place, was Pete Seeger and the Weavers. They're the ones who did it. Josh White turned me onto what racism was, because he recorded Strange Fruit, which is a brutal but very effective way of teaching about racism. So those records really affected me strongly. Folk music rang my bell, big time. I wanted to be a folk singer, and I slowly became one.
And when was the first time that you sang? Do you remember the first time you sang, or the first time you picked up a guitar?
I started playing when I was a teenager. My brother gave me one of his guitars, and the first thing I think I learned was a folk song called The Erie Canal.
And when did you first try songwriting?
That happened later. That happened after I ran into Travis Evanson. There was a folk duo called Bud and Travis Evanson, one half of it, had split from Bud and was working on his own. And I used to go to the Unicorn Coffee House and watch Travis and learn from him what he was doing. And I'll shut the sound off on that phone if you hand it to me, so that it won't go blink. That's it. Thanks. You've seen one before. But that's the early influences. And then right away after folk music was jazz. My brother got into 50s jazz and wanted to be a jazz musician. And so that meant Jerry Mulligan, Chet Baker, Dave Brubeck, Bill Evans, McCoy Tyner. And all roads lead to Train and Miles in jazz. And so that, they affected me very strongly, because they had these beautiful complex chords that I wanted with all of my being. I heard those chords that they would play, the Bill Evans. Oh.
And when did you first start? Because your writing, especially compared to, the other members of Crosby, Stills and Nash, or other bands that you've been involved with, is far more jazzy. Like, the chord structures are kind of completely different to sort of like rock and roll. And
it's what came naturally to me, man. I didn't seek it out. It just, those are the things that are beautiful to me. Yeah. I hear that big minor 9/7 chord with an 11th on the top of it, and I go like, it talks to me.
And when was it that Miles Davis recorded Guinevere? Was that in the 60s?
Oh, much later.
No, yeah. 70s,
yeah, I didn't know anything
or...
about it. I was on the street in New York, in the Village, and he walks up to me, and I knew it was him. And he walks up to me and said, "You Crosby?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I'm Miles." I said, "I know." He said, "I cut one of your tunes." Okay, my heart stopped in my chest. My brain ran out my nose in a puddle on the floor. And my life was over, and God came and took me. It was a shock. And I said, you something like that. And he said, "You want to hear it?" I said, "Yeah." Follow that car. And went over and got in I think it was brown Ferrari, with a girl who had legs up to here. And they drove rapidly uptown, midtown, to a place where there was one of those midtown houses, but the front had been changed to look like a castle. It had turrets and rounded doors and stuff. Really weird. And we went in there, and he played it for me, and it was stunning.
Was it better than you expected it to be? Or did you can't.
It was better than I even realized at the time. He looms very large in my legend in a very strange way. Miles is the reason that the Byrds were on Columbia.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ask me why.
I think I know why.
You know this story?
Did he suggest to the label, because they didn't even know what a band was? How is it that they
had
didn't know
no
what a band
idea?
was?
Now, record companies at that time were guys who had failed at selling shoes. I mean, they really had no idea what a note was, let alone music, let alone people who could play it. It was all a complete mystery to them. So we send them the tape, right? And they go, oh golly, that's Miles. What do we do with these guys? Sign them.
I mean, it is not a story.
He is absolutely the reason that we got signed to Columbia, because they really didn't know what to do with it. They had no idea. And of course, the next thing we did was have a hit.
And were you expecting, or were you even aiming with the Byrds and sort of first getting involved in music? Were you aiming to be successful? You were just aiming to do what you wanted to do? Or was it a bit of both?
No, we intended to win. At that point, we were all kids from poor families and stuff, and we all wanted to win badly. And the music became more important than the winning.
After you'd already won?
Once we started playing with each other, it was really good.
Yeah.
You get involved in it, and it's really, really wonderful fun. But when we heard ourselves on the radio, we did Dance in the Street. We completely lost it. We were so happy. It wasn't as much about celebrity and fame as it is now. It was about being able to pay the rent and have a car and eat. And it was really a new experience on all of those levels. It was pretty thrilling for us.
And during those years, so when the Byrds first made it, how many gigs would you play a year?
Geez, I don't know. 2-3 tours?
2-3 tours a year. And were they your kind of first regular experiences of gigging all the time, or?
Yeah, no, I had gigged as a folk singer, but that's just one guy, one guitar, hitchhiking around the country.
So you gigged solo as a folk singer?
Oh yeah, before? Many times. Yeah, that's how I ate.
Wow. And how did you meet the guys in the Byrds, and how did that first come about?
Walked into the Troubadour, and Roger and Gene were sitting there playing one of Gene's tunes. And Gene had absolutely no idea what the rules were. Completely ignorant about any of it. He just played what felt good to him, and it was wonderful. His stuff was good. And I could hear that, and I could hear that Roger knew what he was doing. So I started singing harmony with him, which got their attention.
And do you think, so, because the Byrds were sort of like really, really iconic at the start of that whole Laurel Canyon movement, and that's kind of being discussed quite a lot at the moment with the Echo in the Canyon movie, and people are reminiscing a lot about the sound and what it means, and the legacy, and people have compared it to sort of Viennese artists many hundreds of years ago, and all sorts of things.
That isn't totally irrelevant.
I think it's kind of true.
That actually is kind of true. Art does happen in waves, and you can, if you like history, spot them. There was one in the 30s in Paris in the left bank. Absolutely. There was a flourishing of art there that had not happened before or right after. There was one in the Renaissance in Italy. Without any question, everybody that studied it historically said, yeah, there's a bump. It's going along like this, and it goes, woo! And that does happen historically. And it did, in the late 60s and early 70s, happen here in the United States. And it happened in 3 places. It happened in LA, San Francisco, and New York. And it happened. There was a surge of writing that probably still hasn't been matched.
Do you think it will ever be matched again? And
Sure.
You do?
Yeah.
And do you think music like this that places emphasis on actually being able to play instruments and sing without the use of auto-tune, do you think that is ever going to be culturally relevant in the same way, like, you know, because people involved?
Yes, I do.
So you think it will come around
yes,
again?
Yes, I do. Several reasons. Ideas. Ideas are the most powerful stuff on the planet.
For sure.
Music is a wonderful medium for transmitting ideas. People are going to do it again. You can count on it. It will cycle through and be generated by the circumstances around it. If you have as bad a time in the United States as we are having in the United States right now, it will generate art. I guarantee it. I've already seen visual art that was inspired by it, that was inspiring, that was beautiful. I think you're going to find, I've been waiting, I've been trying to get everybody to write a fight song, because we need one. We need an Ohio. We need a We Shall Overcome. We need a song to sing when we get out in the street and try to fix this. To be clear, when I say fix this, the science is real. Climate change is real. We are way behind the eight ball. We, who have the brains and the money and should be leading this fight, are not doing so because we have our government stuck pretty much up our ass. And until we fix it, we can't deal with global warming, which means if we fail in the next couple of years to take control of our country and make it work, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren
probably won't exist in the first place.
You got it.
Yeah. And
now, if that bugs you, then you better join my team.
I'm already on your team, but I'm not necessarily doing much about it.
Well, you better fucking do it.
Well, I've got
kids?
a few ideas up my sleeve. No, not yet.
Well, you're gonna. You wanna?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying.
Okay. So if we're gonna have kids, or you have kids, I have 6 children, 4 grandchildren. I don't have any choice at all. I have to fight this fight.
And how many? You've written "Vagrants of Venice" already. That was kind of climate.
That was kind of prescient.
Yeah. Are there going to be any? Are there more that are kind of more fight?
Well, on the last record before that one, there's one called Capital. That's about money and politics. That's pretty straight up in your face. You might want to try that one. It's pretty good. The one that I've been doing for many years, that I sing every time I sing, is that, who are the men who really run this land? Why do they run it? It's that one. I sing that one every night. That's probably the most political I get. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it doesn't seem to me that we have any choice but to work very hard at trying to change the situation that we're in now.
I completely agree.
Yeah. So, I see people out there who have the power, who have billions of dollars, literally, and they're spending it on self-aggrandizement rather than trying to fix the problem. And that bugs the fuck out of me.
Does it annoy you when you get, say, a very talented musician or songwriter, and they say, I just want to focus on making people happy or whatever?
They don't really generally say it; they just do it. But their actions speak out.
But that's their
in
attitude.
Look,
they're not getting involved.
If you look at the big stars, the big pop stars in America, they don't talk politics,
and they don't talk climate change. It doesn't.
No.
I mean,
I haven't heard Beyonce out there saying, plant more trees.
I haven't really heard anybody in particular talking
Yeah.
that much about climate change.
No, I've heard Kanye talking about anything except Kanye. But
Yeah.
then that's normal for Kanye.
So
He's a fucking idiot. There are other people who could and don't, and absolutely should. I'll tell you
So
something.
you don't think that whole Jesus is King thing is did you even hear about it?
He couldn't care about Jesus, man. He cares about one thing in the world. That's himself, and he lives on attention. He's an attention hog, and if it means I love Jesus, we'll get him an audience. He'll say anything. It doesn't really matter. He's an idiot.
Has everybody become an attention hog?
A lot of people truly have. Even I have on Twitter. I'm like definitely an attention hog. I love it. I have a lot of fun there because of that. But there are the big people in show business right now, mostly don't act as if they have a conscience. Now, there are some who do. The ones who are doing this voter registration gig that I'm doing, James Taylor and Joe Walsh and Jason Isbell and Chance, they all give a shit.
What, Chance the Rapper?
Yeah.
No, he's doing cool.
He's a real bright guy.
Yeah.
You encounter him yet?
Yeah, he's been interviewed for this.
Really?
Yeah.
Bright, huh?
And he is bright.
Didn't you think he was really?
I thought he was very bright.
Mind, really good. Yeah.
And also just the variety of people who were on. Brandon Newman was on his latest album. It's just quite a weird thing, but really cool. I just like that.
I think those guys, it was kind of inevitable that rap would evolve a few really sterling people that could write, and it has. Not many. Mostly it's very bad percussive poetry repeated loudly over somebody else's music. Yes, Kanye, I'm talking about you.
But I think Chance is like supposedly views Kanye as his mentor. What would you say to that?
I think Kanye's an idiot, and I think Chance is smart.
Yeah, I mean...
And I'm an opinionated motherfucker, as you probably noticed.
No, I kind of, I like people who have opinions, because everybody would just sort of, like, avoid answering a question properly.
Yeah.
So would you even say that he's got quite good taste in the music. He samples Kanye West, though. He samples all good stuff. But do you think sampling is a reductive thing? Do you think...
Sampling is a very tough thing to put salt on its tail. I would dismiss it completely, except that sometimes it has worked and made really an interesting record. Rarely.
So, this is a bit of a left field question. Among your contemporaries from 70s, I don't even know how I'd characterize this, but of the groups who were really famous for harmonies, like the two that I would immediately come to my mind would be Crosby, Stills and Nash and the Eagles. What's your opinion on the Eagles?
Don's got a way of doing things that's different than my way of doing things.
Henley.
Yeah. We were talking about the Eagles, weren't
we? Yeah, for sure. But, well, I mean, Felder.
Doesn't really count.
Yeah,
Don's the guy. Don likes to do it. He likes to reproduce the record, note for note.
Live.
Yeah. And he does. And it's spectacular. And they do an unbelievably good show. And they are excellent musicians. And it is not how I do it. Not. Like I said, those guys are my friends. Walsh is a very close friend. A very good buddy. Now, I love them. I'm friends with all of them. I like them all. I know them all real well. And I'm perfectly happy with the Eagles. I have been to Eagles concerts and enjoyed the hell out of them. I wouldn't say they were anywhere near as groundbreaking as the Beatles. Beatles did stuff harmonically that was fresh. Beatles were as good as singers, if not better. And they influenced me much more than the Eagles ever would. Eagles never shocked me once.
I suppose you would have influenced the Eagles more than
Yeah.
vice versa because
Yeah.
you came first.
But they didn't surprise me. Now, people who can really sing harmony. You ever listen to the Indigo Girls?
No, but I will now.
They can sing harmony.
What era are they from?
The Indigo Girls?
Yeah, never heard of them.
Jesus Christ, how old are you, man?
I'm 29. I love harmony, so
Maybe I'm
excuse my
mispronouncing it,
ignorance.
man. Indigo Girls?
No.
Two lesbians?
No, never heard of them. I'll listen to them on the way back. I'm
Well,
very
boy,
ignorant.
They got like 10 records, man. They've been around for 20 years.
And they can sing harmony like amazingly.
Oh,
well.
fuck yes. So can this group in Canada of girls called the Au Pairs. Sing like God on a good day. There's 3 sisters in England called the Staves. Mind-bogglingly good. Michael League from Snarky Puppy and Becca Stevens and Michelle Willis, my other band, the Lighthouse Band. We
Yeah.
can sing harmony pretty well together. Did you ever hear us do Woodstock?
Yeah, I heard that today. And I also watched you guys.
Did it give you any goosebumps?
Was it? Well, I mean, I love the song anyway, but I did think it was a brilliant version of it.
There's other people who can sing harmony, man.
I saw your Tiny Desk concert. Was that with them as well?
Yeah.
The Lighthouse Band, yeah.
Really good, really good. I'll tell you one that nobody knows about. It's a band called Venice. They're two pairs of brothers that are all in the same family, and they are from Venice, California, and they sing harmony better than almost anybody in the world. They're absolutely brilliant at it. Who else is really good? My favorite currently harmony singers, 3 women. Sarah Watkins, Sarah Jaros, and Aoife O'Donovan. And they go under the name I'm With Her. And they are one of the best musical groups in the world. Hands down. And certainly one of the best vocal groups I've ever heard. They've got a record out right now called Call My Name. That is startlingly beautiful. It's up for a Grammy.
Wow. I'm going to listen to all of that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
all
have to go
really,
back and
really,
transcribe it.
really accomplished harmony singers, man. Really good. There's more.
Oh, thank you very much, because I really love that type of music.
Oh, well, you should have my email and I should have yours. We'll just trade,
That would be great.
turn each other onto weird shit.
That would be awesome.
Always fun.
Yeah. You're currently in the middle of quite an astonishing run of writing and recording and releasing new music. Has it been 4 albums in 5 years? Is that? And we've just heard a little bit from, which sounded really great.
That sounds good.
It
Yeah,
sounded really good, yeah.
yeah, I'm about halfway through another one.
Why are you writing so much?
Because it's because it's my life's work. Because it's what I will leave behind. Because I'm almost 80. Because I'm going to die soon. Because I would love to leave a body of work that means something. Because it is a joy to do. Because it's my nature to write songs, I can't help it. And because I've been immensely fucking lucky. When I left Crosby, Stills, and Nash, hugely painful thing to do. These are guys that I was friends with. We were very close. Nash and I were very close. And it had gotten to the point where it was poisonous. If I'd stayed there, I would have stopped doing music. It was that bad.
When was the last gig that you guys played?
Europe, probably 3 years ago. And it was intensely bad.
2015?
Something like that. And it was intensely bad.
We saw a show of yours, Hammersmith Apollo.
Right. Did you notice that Nash wasn't looking at me? Ever? At any time
It
during
was
the
actually the
entire show?
first time I'd ever heard questions, like Carry On Questions. So I was
good.
I was really kind of like sidetracked by how
we
great
killed
that
it.
track was.
I'm sure we killed it.
It was good.
Yeah. For a fully competitive band, we absolutely did make really good music. I prefer cooperative bands. It's a different way of approaching it, and it's much more fun. We did CSNY even more competitive. You add Neil, makes it 10 times as bad. But we made good music.
Did it surprise you? Because I gathered that, like at the start, at the start of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, it was like Neil was like everybody was kind of just part of different bands, you know, and then Neil Young has gone on to have this like massive solo career.
Well,
Did
that's
that
what he
surprise
intended
you?
in the first place.
Is that what he just wanted to be Neil Young kind of thing?
Yeah, we were a stepping stone. We were a very smart stepping stone. And
Because
he did-
CSNY was before he became big, right?
Yeah, we were how he became big, if you remember.
Music's finally making some money again. The music industry is currently in a golden era that hasn't been seen.
Except
Talk to any artist, they won't say
not
that.
for the artists. We're getting fucked.
It's really
We're getting
bad.
screwed really badly. And here's the short-sighted part. It's bad for somebody like me because it cut my income in half.
And
Do
you still
can go out-
tour to make money?
I can still go out on tour and make money, but I am 78.
Would you tour less if the situation was different?
Fuck yeah.
Really?
I'm doing 3 tours this coming year. 3. I'll be 80 in 2 years.
And
It
so,
beats the fucking crap out of me. You
Well-
try living on a bus for a month if you're 80 years old. It ain't cool.
yeah.
Yes, I would work a lot less. Yes, I like to be paid because they're making billions with a B dollars and they're not sharing it with the people who thought the music up and sang it and played it.
Yeah.
That ain't right. You
No.
know it's not right. I know it's not right. They know it's not right, but they don't give a shit.
Well, I think it's good that you're speaking up for it. I'm not sure what it will do. Because
All it's done so far is piss them off at me. They'd like me to shut up, but they figure I'll die soon, so what the fuck.
Well, hopefully you don't die soon, because I think it's...
I'm holding fiercely onto the idea that only the good die young. Therefore, I'll be around for a while.
Well, I think you're too hard on yourself, David. I think you're really quite inspiring to a lot of us. So thank you very much for taking the time to do this. But I have one final question. Because I know that you're a
Final
busy man.
question? Okay.
Which are the best songs that you've written? And actually, if you will, could you split these up into 2 different categories? Solo and with Crosby, Stills and Nash. And in fact, but for the Crosby, Stills and Nash ones, could they be not like Guinevere or anything that is really famous? So that's like the most convoluted question of all time. What are your best deep cuts? That's the question.
That's like asking somebody, which one is your favorite child?
That's actually what a lot of people have replied to that question.
Yes, because it's an absolutely bullshit question.
Well, I just want to know what to stick on in
I can't tell
the
you
car.
what my favorites are, man. I have no idea. It's for you to tell me, not me to tell you. I want other people to tell me what music they like. I'm not going to tell you which ones I think are my favorites. My favorites are probably ones you wouldn't even know.
That's what I want to know then.
Some of the stuff that I did with CPR, which nobody's heard hardly at all. 15 people probably bought those records. But there's one in there called At the Edge. It's one of the best songs I've ever been part of. James and I wrote it. There's another called Angel of Mercy. There's another one called Somebody Else's Town. There's another one called Eyes Too Blue. There's another one, man, there are a ton in the CPR stuff. There's a ton of absolutely stunning shit that nobody's ever heard.
So that's what we'll highlight then.
Well, I would love it if
Among
people
other
heard it.
things.
I'm gonna re-release them on BMG. They've agreed to do it, which means they'll get another shot. But it's really good stuff. It's when James and I met each other. My son James.
Yeah. That was in the late 90s, was it?
Something like that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool that you make music with him.
Wow.
Say that.
He is on such a tear right now, man. He's writing so great right now. You can't even believe it. He and I wrote that one I was playing for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's my best writing partner. He's stunningly good. Becca and Michelle are both stunning writing partners too. You heard that Vagrants of Venice. That's a good song, man. That's Becca.
It's really great to see you working so hard on new stuff. Like,
I love it, man. It's fun. All you have to do is be open to it and be real picky. You do have to be real picky. But See, meeting Michael League. Oh, that's the end of that story. I didn't tell you that story. All right. So, leaving Crosby, Stills, Dash is sort of like diving off a cliff. In show business, you don't do that. You don't leave a paycheck that big. You don't leave a hit group after 40 years. You just keep going. Turn on a smoke machine, play your hits. I had to leave. And it is like diving off a cliff. Meeting Michael League is a little like growing wings halfway down the cliff. Michael League, I went to New Orleans, and it was a whole, probably 40 people that were all on my side of the table. They all were there because they loved to play music. None of them expected to make a nickel. And they all were really good musicians and singers.
And how did you find yourself in New Orleans?
Michael League has a band called Snarky Puppy. If you don't know about it, you should.
I do, and loads of people are
really fucking good.
going mental
so
about them.
I heard about them. There's a bass player site called No Treble. A friend of mine heard them on there. Said, you got to listen to this band. They're really good. So I did. And the writing, the composing was way over the top better than anybody else's. I said, what the fuck? Who is, whoa. So I started listening to them. And then I started talking about them on Twitter. I said, listen to this band, man. Listen to this tune. Now dig what happens here when they do this, how they're doing it together. Look how they work together to do this. So somebody told Mike. Mom, probably. Hey, this guy's talking about you. So he sends me a message on Twitter saying, listen, can I talk to you? I send him back my phone number. He calls me. He's in Singapore. They play all over the world. He says, I just wanted to thank you for all that nice stuff you're saying. It's really cool. And I got a question I wanted to ask you. And I said, the answer is yes. He said, well, I haven't answered the question yet. I said, I know. He said, well, but what do you mean the answer is yes? I said, the answer is yes. I said, you're going to do another benefit album like Family Dinner. First benefit album they did, music education. You're going to do another one of those, and you want me to be on it? And the answer is yes. And he said, no shit, really? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So I went down to New Orleans to do it. And he introduced me to Becca Stevens and Michelle Willis, which changed my life. These are two of the most talented women in the world. They are stunner singers, stunner writers, stunner players, amazingly talented human beings, neither of whom can make a living even because they can't make any money off records. This is the point I'm trying to make.
So but they tour with you, don't they?
They tour with me and they tour on their own. They work all the time because that's how they can pay the groceries. But they don't make anything. They don't get a leg up. They don't get advanced at all. They're still driving from one gig to the next in a Sprinter van, paying the band, paying the gas station, paying for some cheeseburgers, and driving on with no money. That's how it goes to people who are getting started in the business now. Okay? And that's where they're stuck. Okay? And these are two of the most talented people I've ever run into in my life.
And they're doing well in the sense that
they're getting noticed because they're too fucking good not to, because they talk about them every day.
Exactly. And in the old days, when some people bought records, they could have a record.
They could have a record.
They could have a record.
They could sell some records. Now, they can sell a record, but they don't make any money.
So this goes back to my question. How is it that you think that things are going to come around again?
I don't think it's going to get fixed. The people who are walking away with the money have no intention of being decent human beings. They're not in it to be decent human beings. They're in it to get that coveted parking space. They're in it to get that corner office. They're in it to get a raise. They're in it to get that secretary bent over the desk. They don't care about what's right and wrong.
Well,
and what's right and wrong is you're not paying the people who are making the music.
And the people who've devoted their life to learning
Now,
those talents and
when
everything.
Taylor Swift turns around and says to Spotify, I'm taking all my shit off Spotify, then Spotify has to negotiate. They gave her a much higher rate than they give me because she took her stuff off and she's got hits. And once they paid her a much higher rate than the rest of us, they should put her stuff back on. I can't do that.
And and that seemed to only benefit Taylor Swift, to be honest, though. Not
It
saying
only
that she
benefits
should
Taylor
have
Swift.
done anything for anyone else, but like
She could have.
she could have.
Look, if Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Sting, Bruce, handful of big people, all said, hey, this is fucked. You can't do this. They could change it. I can't. I'm not one of them people.
What about the whole Tidal? That yeah, I mean, that never really took off, did it? And does that even pay any better rates? Not really. It's not a very happy situation.
No, it's a very unhappy situation. It's an unhappy situation in the country politically too. But we don't have much choice. We still got to keep trucking.
Yeah.
So I'm making music. It's the only thing I know how to do that I can. It's the only place I can lift.
And what would your advice be to the people, to musicians out there who are struggling to make money and are wondering whether to crack on making music with no sight of a paycheck?
Look, if you can't resist it, if it burns in you, if you must sing and play, if you really can't help it, understand that you're not going to make any money. The odds are 1,000,000 to 1 against you making any money. You might make a living for a while. If you're very good and you try really hard, you might make a living. Maybe. You will have that moment with the audience of complete joy. And that's way better than the money. It's the reason to do it. Making music is a lifting thing. Music is a lifting force in the world. It makes stuff better. Every bit of music that we make makes it better. And these are grim times. A lift is a real useful thing. So I want people making music, and I want to encourage them to make music, and I want to encourage them to write songs, because we need the goddamn songs. But I don't want to in any way deceive them about what the reality is. The reality is they dangle celebrity fame, showbiz, whoop-de-doo, it looks so glossy, ooh, out here, and it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
It's really not. You may look good and have pretty tits and nice hair, but you're not going to get the same money that Taylor Swift is getting. It's just not going to happen. The odds are 1,000,000 to 1 against you. I don't know what to tell them. If you have to do it because the music is alive in you and it won't go away, then you got to do it. But you got to understand the system is now rigged against you. And the people who are making the money don't contribute to music at all.
Yeah. Not a good time.
It is what it is.
But you still do have the music out there made by people like you.
There is good music being made anyway, which is amazing, absolutely astounding.
Do you think anybody among your contemporaries are still making good music? Or do you only listen to younger people? James Taylor.
James Taylor's last record was a piece of work, man. It was full of really intensely good music.
How long ago did he release that?
Last year.
Last year? I didn't hear that.
Oh, well, you need to check that one. The songwriting is beyond belief. He wrote a song in there about the war in the Middle East called Far Afghanistan. That song. Absolutely the best song anybody's written about war.
Wow.
In the last 20 years, probably.
And his voice is still sounding as good as ever, isn't it?
Stunning. He's my friend. I love the guy. I'm trying to be more like him.
The way that you sing harmony, is that something that you just hear?
Yeah, I'm completely uneducated musically. I have no idea what I'm doing.
So do you even read? and you play all those jazzy chords. How do you even know what you're playing half the time? It's just all by ear.
Yeah, I can't tell you what I'm playing.
And what about your voice? Do you do anything to take care of your voice, or you just turn up and sing?
I warm it up before I use it, for a concert. But no, I don't. And it's very odd that I'm singing the way I'm singing. My friends, and I have friends, really don't butter my toast. They really actually will tell me the real goods. And my friends tell me I'm singing really well. And, I did everything wrong. The only thing I didn't do was smoke cigarettes and drink whiskey. So it turns out maybe those ones are, because I can think of a number of people that they did not serve well.
And when you were talking about why one would persevere in being a musician, you mentioned connection with an audience. Do you prefer playing live to working in the studio?
Two different things. I love both. Playing live is an absolute joy if you're good at it. And I'm good at it. I break the fourth wall. I get them involved. I get them laughing. If you can make them laugh, you can make them cry. I want to take them on an emotional voyage, and I usually do. That's my game.
But when you were talking earlier about Crosby, Stills and Nash, and I've heard you say this before, putting on the smoke machine, playing the hits. Was that how it was at the end? And is this much better live, and therefore is the only reason why you would kind of revisit old stuff just as a paycheck?
Oh, we don't. No, we play old stuff completely differently. It's a brand new song to us.
Well, I like the version of Woodstock that you did.
Completely different.
It's completely different,
yeah.
Right?
Then we do that a lot.
But if you ever worked again with Crosby, Stills and Nash, would that therefore just be for money?
Not for me.
It would be for the friendship and the camaraderie.
No.
For the music.
Marginally. The only reason that I would get together with them now, because musically it would be a step backwards. They're not really as good as the people I'm playing with now, in terms of technical ability. But the thing we should do is remember Neil wrote that song, Let's Impeach the President for Lying?
Right.
I would think that was kind of appropriate now.
So for political reasons, you should get back together. Why? Because you guys are such a kind of political force as a band.
Every day, man, I get messages on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram saying, please, would you fucking guys quit squabbling and do your job? You're our voice. Get the fuck out there and sing.
So therefore, you should be making new music with those guys.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you should be making music with them anyway, because we should be doing a tour before the election to help the people who are trying to get rid of Trump and McConnell. If we don't get rid of Trump and McConnell, your great-grandchildren will have no home. That's a great shirt, by the way.
Thank you.
Where'd
I have
you
to
get it?
give credit to him for that.
Where'd you get it?
My mother bought it for me.
Yeah.
Where?
In Italy. A town
No fucking wonder.
Yeah, it is good. I've got my eye on it, mate.
Italians, man, the fucking Italians.
I heard, so the last record that you guys were going to do was with Rick Rubin. Is that true? And you guys were like working on some kind of like
doomed.
covers album.
Totally doomed. First place, I shouldn't say this, but Rubin's fake. There's no talent at all. He's not a good producer. He's a poser. Secondly, us doing a covers record? That's pathetic.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it was pathetic, but you guys
but it's a good choice of words.
You guys are like very good
Come
songwriters.
on, we're writers.
Yeah.
It was a joke. It was a bad joke, and
why
it wasn't
why were you
fun.
going to do covers? And isn't that
Because none of us wanted to bring our songs into that.
too intimidated? Or?
No, didn't feel that there was a situation there, a chemistry there that would serve them. My job is to serve the songs, man.
Yeah.
And
why were you going to do covers? Isn't that the same thing that happened in the Byrds as well?
The Byrds,
You don't like covers,
Byrds
do you, David?
didn't write all their own stuff traditionally right from the get-go. Got to remember all
Yeah,
that folk
Tambourine
music
Man.
we did. We did a lot of other stuff too, man. Bells are Rindy. You know, we did folk music.
Yeah.
CSNY is not going to play again. You can count on it. It's not going to happen. Ever.
Well, I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing if everybody else is happy. You know, if you're happy.
I don't know whether they're happy or not, man. I don't have time to wait around and find out.
Yeah, I think it's very uplifting to just see you doing what you're doing, playing, making new music, and please continue doing it.
I am gonna. I don't have time to do anything else.
Yeah.
I've got very little time.
Well, you never know. You could live another 40, 50 years. That's the type of thing Elton John's
Highly
saying in
unlikely.
his interviews.
Highly unlikely. Average age in the United States is 78
Is it?
for dying. I'm 78.
I don't know, but you've got a lot of things keeping you going.
I do. I have what the French call a raison d'etre,
Exactly.
and I believe in that, and it does keep me going. But you understand, I'm just like you, man. At a certain point, the little clocks in the cells say, "Up, time to go. We're not fixing everything anymore," and that's when your hair turns white.
Hasn't your hair been white for quite a while, though?
Yeah.
So, I don't think it means that you're about to go. I think you've got many more years
No,
left.
it does. Absolutely, definitely does. You got to remember, I've got all kinds of physical stuff, too. I've had 200 heart attacks. I've got 8 stents in my heart. I'm diabetic. I'm not going to be around for much longer. Count on it. What I am going to do is have a blast with the time that I'm here. That's really where the bottom line is, man. It isn't how much time you have. It's what are you going to do with that time? I'm going to make music because it's the only thing I can do that's going to make it better for anybody besides me.